I know they're programming you for short memory spans, shorts and shorter videos are better, but this is going to require you to pay full attention and listen to what he says.
Thanks for clicking the button and tuning in again just to see where we're up to in the fine place called Wirral on Merseyside. And if you've sent comments and that, I'd just like to thank you and ask you to keep going. I don't get back to you, it's not because I don't wish to or anything like that, it's just that I haven't got a clue about the internet or anything like that, but I can assure you I do read them, I am encouraged by them, and I do take them on board, and at some point I'm going to get in a position not too far down the road where I will respond to them. Maybe I might have to be on a video.
I think you all know that I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Like the last couple of videos we've done, I hope that they're touching something within you at some level and on some description, because we all have perceived and we've grasped the fact that we're in perilous times, we're in deep water, and there are things that we instinctively know that have got to be put right, like yesterday, that cannot be put off till tomorrow. And that's why I've had it in my heart for a long time to be getting out amongst people who are just, not only are they clueless, they are listless and lifeless, and it hurts my heart, and it drags down my soul to see people, young people especially. It's just, sometimes it becomes too much. And when I started me studying, looking at biochemistry, and I started doing a diploma in it some years ago, but I didn't finish it, I couldn't afford it, but I kept some of the books, and I'd done my own diverse studies, and God was good, and he took me down certain avenues that I would never have discovered, and they were like placed in front of me like gifts to see whether I would pick them up, whether I would perceive the power and the impact that they could have on people's lives, the transformations that were possible, and how would I receive that information, what would I do with it. And thankfully I was so appreciative because of the situation I was in with my youngest son, that I was like a bull in a china shop. I ran at everything that I was being led to, and just stayed in a bedroom for a long time, just studying and taking this stuff in, and with God's mercy having a level of understanding of the operation of why people are in such this condition. And it boils down to a biochemical assault. It comes down to a toxic magic that is so destructive and is absolutely invisible that we are completely unaware of its power. We are completely ignorant of the way it destroys and the way it diminishes, and it wears you down. Like, remember your nan years ago, and she would polish the pumice. She had a pumice stone to polish the step, and Sunday and that, when I was a toddler, loads of the elderly who'd been through the war, and this is what this chemical assault, this destructive force that is at work, it's like wearing you away like a pumice stone, just rubbing, and decreasing our power, decreasing our mental capacities, and decreasing our vitality and our health. And that's the position that we found ourselves in, and seemingly for an awful long time, with not so many solutions, because we were in a position of where we'd been lulled into a false sense of security, like Mowgli, where the serpent and the snake is singing a song to him, and you see his eyes, he's getting mesmerised by the song that this serpent's singing. Well, that's the position that we're in. We've sung their song of we're here to help. This is the health service. This is the every type of thing for your benefit, that we're here to make sure you're safe, that you're healthy, all the things that are just opposite to what your own 2 eyes can see in front of you. And we're supposing that's the serpent singing a lie, and we are being mesmerised into just believing it at one subconscious level and following its diktats. As we march off the plank, we go over the edge of the ship. We just march to our own doom. at this Pied Piper in the background in our spirit that seems to move us along with an invisible hand. And we're looking at our children, we say, how do we intervene? What has happened to them? It was never like this when I was young. It was never like this when my dad was young. And we're aghast because we can't see that this is engineered, that this is worked out by evil geniuses who do nothing but study you biochemically. And we have got to now at this time, because of the situation we're in, and with the damage and the destruction of our families and our health, we have got to just come up with something brand new, and that is the NHS. And it sounds like a strange title, but we've got to know the importance of what God has placed right at our feet. I mean, he's given us a creature that is so packed full of amino acids and proteins and all sorts of minerals, and that, you know, we are destroyed without them. They're critical to our survival. And in the background, while we've been diverted one way or there has been millions upon millions upon millions of chickens and chicken factories and chicken process plants and poultry plants all around the world, in England as well, all around Europe, all over America. You've seen a few and put a few on here, and they are decimating our source of proteins and amino acids that we can have personally available to us. You know, I want to show you this little clip, this little document, that back in 1918, when the war was on, they were telling you to get a couple of chickens in the backyard. They were telling you that it was your patriotic duty. Yeah, it is really. Now they're being decimated and destroyed along with us because we're all one unit. It's just so sad to think of all those beautiful creatures. But the NHS has got to be something that's going to resurrect our health. It's got to bring us back to our full faculties and the facilities, and we intend to achieve it. We intend to put it out to you at the end of this camera, because the NHS needs you to step up. We need access to your skills. We need access to your insights and your medical knowledge. You've worked in the system if you're a medical person. You know it's a road to nowhere, and something has got to change. Well, there's no answers for these people within that system, but there are answers that are going to be available within the NHS, and it's going to come down first and foremost to smashing down within people that wall of incredulity that's been built up, that this sounds so crazy. But the situation we're in, the devastation, to me, is what's crazy. How did we end up in this decimated, destroyed condition? And that's the journey. A lot of people at the end of this camera, or will maybe see this video, are on at the moment. They may have been on this journey for a week. They may have been on this journey for a week, for a month, for a year, for a decade, or like myself, 35 years. And somewhere along the road, you have to come to a decision in your own life. That what are you going to do? What action are you able to bring to your fellow man and to your own survival and your children's well-being? I follow the scriptures. It tells me a lot about the situation I'm in and we're in. But it tells me, it says, spend yourself on behalf of the poor and needy. Money is an aside. It's us that these people need. They need us with compassion and with a heart and with a horror, and to step up and intervene like the men and women that God created us to be. That we can't stand back. We can't have no answers at this time and just get washed away by this tsunami of disease and illness and fear and terror and lies, and it just comes at you like a tsunami, like a wall. And here we are, like that sole figure on the film where he's just stood on the beach looking at this gigantic wall of water coming at him, and that's what it feels like. You feel like you're overwhelmed. Well, we have got solutions, and we're going to bring and put some of them on the table. We're going to share them with you, but you've got to step up and do your own research and do your own deep dive into this stuff, and we'll help. We'll put everything we've got on the table, not only the knowledge I've accrued and lots of other people have accrued. We'll put our heart and soul on the table for you, because you matter, and I matter, and your children matter, and this planet matters, and what we do matters. And you may be at the end of the camera, you may have wealth and finances. Well, it's all going to disappear. It's all as good as done. And I'd like you to have a look at like what's on a £5 note. I don't really bother that much running around. I don't run around after money at all. But on the £5 note with Winston Churchill, we see if we can put it up for you to read it. And it says, "I have nothing to offer you." This is a concept. This is what it is. Yeah. "I have nothing to offer you but blood, toil, tears and sweat." You want it? Your money is tainted. It's going to be, you need to put it into the benefit of your fellow man and humanity. You know, we need equipment. We are looking for ozone generators. We are looking for the paraphernalia. And if you feel moved, or you feel like that would be a good thing to invest in yourself and your friends and your neighbours, and with the return you'll get will be spiritual, might be financial. I'm not in it for that, but it's the right thing to do. That we're here for a specific time. We find ourselves in a specific situation, and we have to look to what we've got in our hand, and we have to assess what we've got in our hand and assign where value really lies, where value really has its essence. And it has it in every man and woman you speak to. That's the value. It's not in a piece of paper that says, "I have nothing to offer you but blood, toil, sweat and tears." We need something better than that. We need to offer ourselves. We need to offer our goodness and our courage. And the NHS is going to be an umbrella where all these different facets can come together. We're hoping to put together hubs and guilds and put a website together where people can come together and begin to re-educate ourselves, because the situation where we're in now, the governments and these world planners have got a bleak future for you, and we're going to try and change that. We're going to step up, and we're going to do something for our family, our friends and our children in the NHS. We're going to teach them how to live healthily. We're going to teach them how to reverse the damage that's been done to them. We're going to give them compounds. We're going to give them information that can get rid of all that toxic poison that they're running around in, the spike proteins and the blood clots and the Alzheimer's. I want to just share that in the NHS, but it's going to be down to us. We need to get these substances. We need to get an inventory so that we can go and administer and pass these things out, so people do actually experience the power and the transformation that's available, so that they can then get energised and begin to promote and pick this stuff up for themselves. But we've got to prime the pump. We've got to show them. We've got to get testimony of people who are using ozone at the minute. It's getting very, very popular, and you mark my words that the governments are going to try and stop it at some point. There's already one of the largest ozone machine manufacturers in Canada, I believe, been in business for 26 years not so long ago, and overnight it was gone. We're going to have to get real savvy. We're going to want to approach some of these generator companies who make these, and we're going to have to do some sort of a deal with them. We're going to have access to them, where every street could have an ozone generator with somebody there. It could be as simple as having them in the corner shop. It could be as easy as the corner shop selling the different bits of equipment, the syringes. This is self-applicable. This is simple. We have nurses who are going to be available, who've already stepped forward, and they're going to do teaching on how you can administer ozone safely and practically, and they're going to revolutionise your life. And we're going to share them within the NHS. We're going to teach you how proteins are produced, how amino acids are critical, how the chickens are our partners, that they will get rid of your depression, they will make you laugh, They are so funny, they're unbelievable. And they are being murdered in the millions upon millions upon millions upon millions. It goes on and on and on, and it's non-stop. And have a little listen to this old guy, because he makes the connection for you really well in America.
I was doing a little bit of digging around, and I found some connections with our food supply system that I believe is going to be really important. By the time this video is over in the next couple minutes, I think you'll be able to connect some dots as well. Okay, so the first graph that I'm going to show you right now is a graph of a lot of the fires that are happening at bird processing plants, which would be not processing, but places where they keep birds, like chickens, ducks, turkeys. These are all the fires that have been breaking out over the last couple of years. 2021, 2022 was really heavy. 2022, 2023. So I just wanted to kind of give you guys a visual in North America on some of the poultry issues that we've had in our country over the last couple of years. Now I'm going to show you guys a video clip of a large fire. Now these fires are just recent, this year fires. Okay, I just want to keep trying to show you guys that this is not just a thing that's just happening, but this is an ongoing pressure on the birds and the eggs. And just hang with me. I'm going to try to connect some dots for you so you understand maybe why it's happening. A large explosion of an unknown origin with a significant fire erupted at Feathercrest Farm chicken plant, another food plant gone. Feathercrest Farm has been in business since 1968. It had 12 million hens producing 300 million eggs annually. Okay, maybe you might not miss that one, right? But now this next fire that I'm about to show you, this is a 5-alarm fire that broke out 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday evening, just a little bit ago, like last week, at a massive farm in Farina, Illinois, housing over 1.2 million chickens. The farm is one of the largest free-range egg facilities in the country. Over 15 fire departments responded to the major fire, with at least 3 buildings catching fire and causing significant property damage. The smoke was so heavy that it was picked up on Doppler radar, reaching between 13 and 15,000 feet in the air, and could be seen from over 20 miles away. And the officials say at this moment, there's no official determination of the cause. Millions of chickens are confirmed to be dead. Okay, so that's just 2 fires that I brought you right there, and they've been going on more. I have to keep the video short for you guys. But I just wanted to give you an idea that it hasn't stopped. Like, this is still happening while you're being distracted with all this other stuff, all right? Now, the last thing I want to get to you guys before you leave, and this is a major dot connector. In January 2021, an official website of the United States government published a study about the eggs and the SARS-CoV-2 spike protein. Now, listen closely. I'm just going to report what it says. Now, this study was done January 2021, all right? Chicken egg yolk antibodies, IgYS, block the binding in multiple SARS-CoV-2 spike protein variants to human ACE2. Big study going on. Chicken egg yolk antibodies block the binding of multiple SARS-CoV-2 spike protein variants to human ACE2. So if you guys are looking for ways that you can battle this, in case you did take that, okay, in case you did take that, or if you know someone who did, maybe if they did some homework, they could find that eggs could help prevent the spike proteins from attaching to them, which is becoming a big problem per the medical community. The SARS-CoV-2 was still spreading worldwide, and there are urgent and effective ways to prevent and control this pandemic. Now, this is in 2021, remember. Egg yolk antibodies as a neutralizing agent against SARS-CoV-2. We investigated the neutralizing effects of the anti-spike S1 IgYS on SARS-CoV-2 pseudovirus, as well as its inhibitory effect on the binding of the coronavirus spike protein mutants to human ACE2. Our results show that the anti-spike S1 IgYS showed significant neutralizing potency against the SARS-CoV-2 pseudovirus. Various spike protein mutants, even the SARS-CoV in vitro, it might be a feasible tool for prevention and control of ongoing COVID-19. Okay, so this was in 2021. I'm not sure how much press this actually got. I had to do a little digging to find it for you guys, but this was an actual study released by PubMed on a official website for the United States government. I don't know if it's, something that's, it just seems like there's a lot of this pressure on our food system in North America while we're being distracted. And when I start finding out that these egg places are really being targeted, like lots and lots of eggs, the biggest facilities, and then I start reading about how it blocks the protein, the spike protein, from adhering to you, I mean, What do you think?
Many of us who have like been, you know, outside of the paradigm of the health, the so-called health service, which is, by the way, is an inversion of itself. If you look back to the history, you'll come across a character who was very famous, who started like the United Nations. His name was Edward Bernays, from a famous family. Go back, they were all the bloodlines, they were all demented. To beguile us like the Mowgli figure, again with the serpent, you know, they said, well, what we need to do, we need to change wording, and we need to change the people's perception. And so at the time they were more honest, and they used to have the Ministry for War, the documents, the Ministry of War declares blah blah blah. And he said, well, that's a little bit, people don't really like war, you know, people, you know, I know we do, but the normal people, they're a little bit put off by getting blown to bits and shot and our kids getting destroyed and that. So we need to say that it's the Ministry of Peace. It's all about defence. We're under, you know, we give them that when they believe that, like by going with the guns and all that. It's for defence, it's not for war. Then we can keep that little game going, and we can recruit and we can get the kids in, we can blow them to bits. We can get our mates over in the country over there in Germany or in Russia or in France or whatever. We'll just kill each other's populations, and you know, it'll be a good little enterprise. We'll make a load of money. They speak to you in code and stuff. That's why when you sign up and you become a soldier, well, just say the word slowly and let it sink in what your subconscious is picking in. Soldier. I sold you. How much did you get? Well, you know, you lasted a week. $2,000. And the word sold, dyer. Sold you, a sold dyer. Yeah, they've sold our young people to die, and they want us to do it, but that's the paradigm that we're in, and that's the one we're going to move out of. We're going to bring solutions to what these people have done to the damage. And one of the first compounds I want to make you aware of is a compound, because it's so simple, it's so cheap, it's so effective, it's so affordable, that you need to go and purchase yourself a bottle today, and that is a compound called and people have picked up on it now, and they're using it to tremendous success and having tremendous results with all sorts of horrific life-destroying situations health-wise. And where you can see this on video now, we'll show it to you where into the vascular system, it will go through, and it will begin to clear all the debris out. The oxygen will be able to come together, because it's two oxygen atoms. Oh, and this is just a simple solution. All these corner shops have every type of water you can think of. They have Volvic, they have Fanta, they have everything. Imagine, why can't we have bottles of water in there that people can just pick out of the chiller and can take home and can get rid of all sorts of detrimental situations that they're in? It's cheap, it's effective. You'd probably be able to sell it cheaper probably than a bottle of Volvic water, and it will clear out so many elements. You can have a look at a few on this video for yourself. We've got to make this known, we've got to make this available, and we've got to get it to our friends and neighbours as an entity, not just as information. We need to put a bottle of this in their hand when they are ill. So there's a place within this NHS for the corner shops, for the local supermarkets, for the people who are living on housing estates. What about the local boozer? All of these places know that there is no hierarchy here. There is no specialism required there. We've got to stop looking to white-coated technicians who know nothing about health whatsoever. Should be your first port of call right now if this information is relatively new to you, even if it's something that you have known about. I suggest you look at it deeply, because it destroys spike protein, it clears up the blood, it will stop your blood from clotting, and will save your life, and you will begin to feel better. Just start to use in the water. Make sure your children are aware of it. Start to detox your system, because it's sorely needed. I don't know if you're aware, but like as an entity and as a living, you are 3/4 water. You comprehend that? 3/4 of you is water. So it comes out the tap. He's saying like 3/4 of that comes out of there is like, no, not at all. You've been created with so many different facets, and that water is required to hold the whole system in place, to make it all function. It is life. It is so mysterious and so fantastical that we've missed it completely. And because we are 3/4 water, and because these people are so super smart, because of the information that they know, they weren't super smart in obtaining it, by the way. You're the super smart one, because you're obtaining it the right way. You're obtaining it through diligence and through perception and through curiosity and through a determination to do something for the people around you. These people get it through ritual. These people get it through secret teachings, through secret knowledge that they've kept for thousands and thousands of years going back. Oh, they are jumps ahead of us, but they are spiritually dead. We are spiritually awake, that we can receive guidance, we receive our information, we receive our insight from a different realm. I receive my inspiration from the Word of God. I receive it from God the Holy Spirit, and He leads and directs me into these directions, so that I've got something that I can put on the table for you today. It's His gift, and it was a gift to me, and it's a gift to be given to everybody, that there is life available, and is going to open you up to a realm of health, that you're going to begin to start on a journey. So please just watch a little bit about water, and I'd like you to check a doctor called Dr. Yamoto, who done amazing stuff on water that absolutely blew my socks off when I seen it. And what it was is that he was taking water molecules, and what he was doing is he was imprinting them with sound, and he would play rock music, and it'd be bang bang banging away and screaming and shouting, and then after he'd done that, he would freeze the water quickly, whether he had a freezer, whatever it was, he would freeze it quickly, and then he would put the microscope onto the water molecule, and it was the patination in it was ugly and disturbing, didn't look good at all. And then he would, the same water jar, and he would do the same, and he would play beautiful music to it, and he would freeze that, and then he would come back, and the most beautiful crystals you could imagine, all like them doilies you used to get in your birthday party when you was little. Beautiful symmetry, beautiful, and he kept repeating and repeating, and it was remarkably like water holds information. It is a receiver of whatever is around it, and this is factual. This is stuff that they've had occulted from us for a long time, which is why water is always a massive target, because it is 3/4 of what you actually are. If you watch this little piece of video here about water and do your research, be amazed like I was, and begin to take water seriously. Begin to look at what comes out of that tap, and know that that is going to affect you. It is going to dictate your moods. It can be imprinted with negativity. It can be part of the assault. It can be one aspect of the attack, and you can remedy that. You can start treating the water that you put into your system like, it's not just to quench your thirst. It's going to affect you emotionally and spiritually and psychologically. It's going to nourish trillions of cells that are there packed with information. They're like the security services. They know everything. Everything is imprinted upon it. And I believe myself, that at some level, that information within the water table is passed to these cells, I believe that's where they get their instructions from, to how to operate, and what systems to kick in when we're not good. So this is available, so you can look at the power of water, what you can do to take that one simple product that we've overlooked all our lives and look at it through a completely different set of eyes with completely different information, and you can put that H2O water to use to your benefit, so it will nourish you, so it will sort out your instabilities. And like Jesus said, he said, I am the water of life. The life. You can't live without water. You can die real quick with bad water, and that's what we've been doing. It's what we've been ingesting, and there is a cycle at play within our system that we're going to look at in a minute on another little piece of film. But I'd like you to just take that on board, that this is what you are. You are a puddle with some other stuff in it.
This next series of photographs are the work of Japanese researcher Mr. Masaru Emoto from his book, The Message from Water. Mr. Emoto's work provides factual evidence that human vibrational energy, thoughts, words, ideas, and music affect the molecular structure of water. Please remember that water comprises over 70% of a mature human body and covers the same amount on our planet. Water is the very source of all life. This photo shows the beautifully formed geometric design of the Yushi Spring water. This next photo is from the Shimanto River, the last clean spring in Japan. Notice the extraordinary geometric forms. The fact that the molecular structure of water can be affected by our consciousness, our intent, and our sounds is extremely important. This photo is from the Mount Cook Glacier in New Zealand. Mr. Emoto has been visually documenting these molecular changes in water by means of his photographic techniques. He freezes droplets of water, then examines them under a dark field microscope that has photographic capabilities. His work clearly demonstrates the diversity of the molecular structure of water and the effects of the environment upon the structure of the water. This photo is from the fountain in Lourdes, France. This photo is from contaminated water from the Yodo River in Japan. In this photo, we can compare the contaminated water with clean stream water. Look at the difference. Mr. Emoto decided to see what effects music would have upon the structure of water. He placed distilled water between two speakers for several hours while playing different music and then photographing the crystals that formed after the water was frozen. This photo is of water being exposed to Beethoven's Pastorale. This photo is the effect of Bach's Air for the G-string on the water. This photo is water exposed to Chopin's Farewell Song. This next photo is water being exposed and affected to music that was designed for healing. This photo is of water being exposed to the Kawachi folk dance. This photo shows the effect of heavy metal music upon the water. Here now we can compare the effects of healing versus heavy metal music and what happens to the water molecules. Mr. Emoto decided to see how thoughts and words affected the formation of untreated distilled water crystals by typing words onto paper and then taping this paper onto glass bottles overnight. This photo shows the effects of the words, "Thank you." This next photo shows the effects of the words, "love" and "appreciation." This photo shows the effects of the words, "You make me sick, I will kill you." And here we can compare the effects of "thank you" with the "you make me sick, I will kill you." Very, very different geometric forms being incurred through the intention. Now this photo is of a very polluted and toxic water from the Fujiwara Dam. Here now is the same water from the Fujiwara Dam after a Buddhist monk had offered a prayer over it. Prayer, that sound coupled with intention, seems to have an extraordinary ability of restoring water to its natural, harmonious, geometric symmetry. And in this photo we can compare the toxic water and then the effects of praying over the water.
You can begin to affect your reality by affecting 3/4 of what you are just by your understanding of the properties and the amazing power that is within water. So okay, we've touched on that one. So let's move on. What I'd like to do, I'll go through a couple of the personal ones that I use all the time, but I'm going to save ozone till the end as a separate, because that's going to play a major factor in everything else. So we'll put the ozone to one side just for a minute. We have touched on it, and something I use every day, you know, when I can lay my hands on the money to get it, is iodine. It is an absolutely critical mineral that you must have within your system. It runs so many different mechanisms through your thyroid and through your thalamus, and these terminologies may not be at present familiar to you, but in this new paradigm in the NHS, we are all going to be conversant with this stuff, because this is not complex. It's like the computer chip, if you like, for your hormonal and your endocrine system. They terms may mean not much to you at the moment, but just take it from me that they are critical for every facet of your well-being. And in the past, we've got so many brain degenerative dysfunctions with all this ADHD and the autism and the Alzheimer's and the dementia and the brain cancers, and these were unheard of in our granddad's generation. These are brand spanking new, because in reality we've had 100 years of medical advancement stolen from us. We're 100 years behind, and what was substituted for that 100 years of misinformation and this clinical assault, that was more or less at the tail end of now. This was organised, this stuff was known. They can withdraw iodine from our system and from the food supply. You're not going to be able to operate at a cognitive level. At the same time as this is going on, we have been preset and pre-programmed internally. Our internal electrical system, our internal biological system, that runs at frequencies, runs on specific minerals and biochemicals. These people who know this well have set us up with the toxins that they've sprayed on our food. I remember not so long ago, whether we can find it, that there was an advert for glyphosate. It was for Roundup, for getting rid of your nettles and your weeds in your garden. And it wasn't so long before, maybe a couple of months, maybe it might have been weeks, I can't remember the time frame, but Monsanto had just been found guilty and had paid massive, well, not massive in comparison, piddling compensation for the fact that they had to admit that Roundup, the chemical ingredient glyphosate, causes testicular cancer, causes multiple cancers, that it had decimated, that the farmers all around the world were just dropping with cancer everywhere. And they denied it. They knew exactly what it would do. But then, you know, after the verdict came out, and it wasn't publicised, you've never heard of it. I hope you haven't got any Roundup in your shed. I hope you're not open to spread it on the ground, because by your cooperation with this with this stuff is killing everything. We've got to realise that there are alternatives to this that are absolutely harmless, but they brought an advert out for the, you know, for the Roundup on the TV, and it was an advert with a fella and a woman with the backyard fence separating them, and he had his budgie smugglers on in the sun, and she was out doing something. I can't remember the ins and outs, but she ends up, she's spraying Roundup or something. She's doing the garden, spraying the plants, and the fella comes over, she looks over, and when the guy says hello to her, she looks down and sees he's got no top on, no, he's just in his white front trunks, and she goes, ugh, and she sprays his testicles with Roundup, and that was supposed to be a joke. They'd just been found, you know, pleaded guilty and admitted that their product caused testicular cancer, that there were tens of thousands were dead and in agony. It was still being sprayed it's still being sprayed now. Maybe you've been spraying it. Well, it produces testicular cancer, it produces breast cancer, and a whole host of other things.
Roundup's active ingredient is called glyphosate. Glyphosate was originally patented as an industrial cleaner to clean boilers and pipes. As a chelator, it grabs onto the minerals and strips the buildup inside the pipes. When the residue spilled on the ground, it wiped out all the plants. So Monsanto bought glyphosate and patented it as an herbicide.
So this stuff has got to be detoxed from our system, because it's one part of a chain that opens us up with our phones and with the frequencies, because they need this stuff to get past our blood-brain barrier, because we are an incredible creation. You know, the word of God tells me, says that I created you in the secret place, and you were fearfully and wonderfully made. And these chemical assaults by these entities, they haven't had it all their own way. We have got defence mechanisms and solutions that are innate and inherent within us that we've got to get familiar with and activate and turn back on, not just for ourselves but for our loved ones and our families, so we can have a life that's worth living. And so iodine will detox and will get rid of the debris and the poison that is now inhabiting your thyroid gland, because what it is with iodine, it is a gas. It's like a halogen gas. It's a halogen, and it competes. There are two other compounds. One is fluoride, sodium fluoride. You've heard of that one, you know, for your cavities. Okay, so you've got sodium fluoride, and you've got bromide, which is put in the flour and it's put in the bread, and then you've got iodine, which is removed from the food chain from you, with all the processed garbage in the food and the GMO. So, but what you do consume is you consume an awful lot of bromide, and you consume an awful lot of fluoride. You brush it on your teeth. You brush it. It's in compounds. It is an absolutely toxic poison. And if you go and do your homework and your research, you'll find out that sodium fluoride is rat poison. It's what they use to poison rats, and we're encouraging our children to brush their teeth with it. Just a couple of, and the frequencies of the thing open that whole system up so it can go through the blood-brain barrier, and that is the kill triangle that we're in. That this stuff can now affect our thinking, our brains, and it has done, and we can clear this stuff out. We can repopulate our thyroid gland with a good quality iodine, and I recommend that you go for a product, and it's called Detoxidine. And you know, there's a video here that we're going to put up for you to have a look from an eminent physician, but it's going to do remarkable things. It's going to begin a chain reaction. It's going to impair all these chemicals and these biologicals that have been waged against you, and you're going to begin the repair mechanisms. It's going to start to clear out your thyroid, which is going to knock on to so many different systems in your body, and it's so important. You have over 70 trillion factories, which we call cells, along with the water that make up what we are. Well, every single one of those cells has an iodine receptor. There is not a system or a cell in your body that does not require iodine. And so I'm going to recommend that this new NHS that we get iodine rich, we can get these products in, we can buy iodine in, then we're going to make this available, and we're going to let people experience what iodine will do in a polluted and chemically damaged situation. It will improve cognitive abilities, it will start to clean out the endocrine system, the hormonal system will start to repopulate. So that's iodine.
There are some major, if not shocking, benefits of iodine I want to discuss. Every single cell in your body needs iodine, because iodine is not just for the thyroid, okay? The thyroid consumes about 6 milligrams of iodine every single day, but the breast tissue consumes 5 milligrams every single day. And the question is, why would the breast tissue and other tissues need iodine? We're going to get there. The ovaries, the brain, the lining of your stomach, even your eyes require significant amounts of iodine. I mean, it's not very mysterious why Japanese women in Japan have very low incidence of getting breast cancer. They consume 25 times more iodine than women in the US. Even men that consume the highest amount of iodine have a 29% lowered risk of getting prostate cancer. So what's the mechanism of iodine on cancer? Well, number one, it's highly anti-estrogenic. And we know that if you have estrogen dominance, it puts you at risk for cancer, especially of the breast, the ovary, the uterus. Some women even use Lugol's solution. It's an iodine solution with a little bit of oil, and they rub it into the breast as a way of reducing fibrocystic breast. Iodine also has another effect on cancer cells. It causes the cancer cell to commit suicide. Iodine also strengthens the thyroid, which increases your overall health and your resistance against health problems. Iodine improves the immune system, and iodine also reduces inflammation. And it's very important for anyone who's pregnant to consume enough iodine. A deficiency of iodine in pregnant women can increase the risk of miscarriage, as well as increase the chance of ADHD. And one big myth out there is that you got to be careful about taking too much iodine. Did you realize that iodine is the only trace mineral that can safely be taken in extremely large amounts? I'm talking like 100,000 times the RDA. Iodine is considered what's called a halogen, and so they all compete with each other. That can create a problem with iodine. Well, good thing we don't consume a lot of fluoride or even bromide, right? And I'm being very sarcastic because they put bromide in breads, fluoride in the water supply, and it's in your toothpaste. So there's one really cool thing you can do to kind of get that stuff out of the body. You can just take more of iodine. And what I would do if you wanted to do a detox, if you were concerned about that, is for several days, consume a good amount of water with unrefined sea salt. Then you would start taking Lugol's solution. Now, this is a mixture of 2 different types of iodine because different tissues absorb different types of iodine. You would start taking this solution and follow the instructions on the bottle for about 5 days, okay? And then you take 2 days off to let it detox. And if you're doing a detox, you probably want to also add some other things too, like vitamin C. And I would recommend taking between 3 and 9 grams, not milligrams, and about 400 milligrams of magnesium, 100 milligrams of selenium, and the complete B complex. By doing that, you can help clear out these halogens and replace it with iodine. However, if you have hyperthyroidism, do not take iodine. Some people think that they're allergic to iodine because they're allergic to shellfish. No one can be actually allergic to a mineral. They're usually allergic to something in the fish, okay? So people that have shellfish allergies usually can take iodine. And another point that I want to bring up about the foods that are goitrogenic, which basically block iodine, like kale and broccoli and all the cruciferous vegetables, lima beans. If you take sea kelp on a regular basis, that can easily counter any potential bad effects. And the last point is that iodine also binds with mercury and aluminum. So that's another way to help reduce the toxic effect of certain metals.
Please, I remember a thing I watched you could have a look at, and I believe, remember Roger Moore, the Saint? The Saint Roger Moore, 007, and that when he retired and stuff, that I believe he got made a UN ambassador for children at some point. Look into it, I haven't, I've just seen snippets of it, and he made it his mission that he found out that the official statistics from the World Health people and all the more credible ones than that, but a conservative estimate, they state that there are over 2 billion people that are cognitive deficient. That means that they are dumbed down. Cognitive deficient is a nice way of saying that they're nowhere near intellectually where they should be. They're nowhere near processing information for their benefit where they should be. They are impaired. He made it his mission to make people aware that it was iodine, that they were cognitively impaired, and 2 billion people because of a deficiency in iodine, because the soils had been depleted. And it was devastation right across the third world where these Monsantos and these companies had forced them to produce one crop to rotate, and then they would import the food that they actually needed to eat, and it just destroyed the soils, and the iodine levels depleted, and they were wide open to every calamity, and you've seen it played out over the years, no doubt. So iodine is critical. It's critical for our youngsters. It's critical for our young girls as they come up to puberty and they go through adolescence. They need adequate iodine. They should not be impaired. They should not be struggling. And we've now got the answer in one proportion, which is iodine. So we bring iodine under the banner of the NHS, because all these systems that have been linked together for our destruction, we can put systems together for our uplifting, for our benefit. So we've got iodine. Well, let me put another one in that is simple, that is available, that is going to do remarkable things, and that is simply within the water that we've just talked about. You're going to get clean water, you're going to get structured water, and you can place within that water 3%. It is as cheap as chips. It is affordable, and it will get oxygen into your cells. It will enable you to produce energy in your cells. It will supercharge your immune system. It will do remarkable things. It will get rid of ailments. It will clear out all sorts of debris in your joints, freeing the joints up. And we haven't even moved past, I don't think, 25 quid yet. And we're doing well, because this is not about money or about profits or any of that. This is about taking solutions to our fellow man and doing the right thing. Is that, we can make this knowledge available and experience it, and it costs pennies. We can do that between us. We can make that happen. And with the children, I remember one time my friend had phoned and he'd said that he was with his daughter. He was taken up to doctors. It was cold, it was dark, it was only about 6:30 in the winter. Said he'd been snotting and coughing and they couldn't do anything. He was burning up, and it had gone on for days, and now the doctor's appointment was here, and they were walking up maybe about 3/4 of a mile. Our house was another 5 minutes past where the doctor's was, so my friend phoned me up, explained that the little boy, blah blah, what should I do? We're on our way to the doctor's. I said, well, keep walking, go past, come to ours. But anyway, it was like 3/4 of an hour, They obviously, like, the daughter, once they took the little fella in, obviously go to bed, lay up for a week. Where's your antibiotics? Here's your bottle of medicine, and all that was in the bag in the stroller. But while they were doing that, all I'd done is I'd gone and got a bottle of Vimto. I'd got some deionised water that I'd had in the fridge, made a drink of Vimto up, and I put 3%, put the lid on it, put it back in the fridge. When they come, I said, how'd you get on? Told me the story, what they had in the bag. I said, give them that to drink. I said, it's nice and cold. And what is it? And anyway, the next day I got a phone call back, and they were absolutely overjoyed. The little boy was back, he was laughing, he was up, there was no anything, nothing whatsoever. And his mum said better now than he was before he got whatever it was, a cough, a cold, a flu, whatever the heck it was, but it was gone with a drink of Vimto with some think of that for your children. That's so simple. It's just information. But people need to experience these realities so they can take it into their situation and into their homes. So you've got the 3%. You know the power of water. You know how it carries information. Let it carry. It'll thank you for it. Your cells will thank you for it. And your body will thank you for it. So now you've got iodine to look at. You've got 3%. I'm not going to overload it. We're just going to give you a couple of things so we do the next video, so that when we come back to do the next couple of products and stuff, you'll be conversant with it. But this is not a financial burden for anybody, and I'm going to recommend to you that you look at and that we bring under the NHS. Obviously, apart from the eggs, is raw apple cider vinegar. It is so simple. I remember when I was a boy, and the newspaper and whatever it was, because we had a big family-ish, there was newspapers, and every time we opened it, there was always, it was there for decades, and right down the side of one of the newspapers, and it said uses of vinegar, and it was just a column that went on and on and on and on. It was so long, no one read it. They thought it was just some ridiculous thing, but it was all true. Like raw apple cider vinegar will clear up your Alzheimer's. Raw apple cider vinegar will reinvigorate your whole life. It will detox your system. It will make you vibrant. It will do so many remarkable things. It is a powerhouse of nutrition and of goodness and of health. And I mean, for goodness sake, you can make it in the kitchen. You can go and get the apples from the tree. No, try not to get them from the shop if you can help it. But if you have to, and you can just put it together in a jar, and 6 weeks later you can have some of the best medicine that's available to mankind. Everybody can go back to the pharaohs, and they all knew the power of vinegar. The Romans knew that it is the best antiseptic, anti-everything you could wish for, and it's in vinegar. And you can make that if you know local honey producers. Often all you do is you get that pure water, the good water. Now you understand the power of water, and you're now utilising it, and you're putting good vibrations into that water. You're making sure it's clean. And if you're going to do solutions like this, I suggest you de-ionise it, because what that will do, it allows you to, it's a technology within itself. I'll just give you a quick one. If you look at a water molecule under a microscope, imagine it looking like a pool ball or a billiard ball. It's solid. But when you de-ionise it, when you look at it again, it's a honeycomb, because water contains things. It's a carrier of things, and now we're aware of that. We're gonna let it carry things that are going to absolutely be a blessing to you, that are going to transform your situation. So you can upload into the water, the ionised water. You just put 1 spoon of raw apple cider vinegar in a jar, in a glass, in a pitcher of this pure deionized water, and what it will do, all that power, all the minerals and vitamins and all the good stuff that you need are going to go inside of the water molecule, because you've deionized it. You've made pockets and wallets for all that goodness to just sit inside the water molecule. And you being 3/4 water, when you take that in, you're just drinking it. It's lovely, by the way, with the it doesn't taste like vinegar at all. And with the honey, that's just going to blast like a flash of light inside your cellular system. It's going to light up. There's going to be so many power-packed nutrients that'll just hit your water table that your cellular systems, those factories are going to get busy. They're going to start producing, making your life more tolerable and better. You're going to feel improvement in your health, in your mood, in your attitude, in your hair, in your eyes, in your nails, in your overall composure. And that's raw apple cider vinegar. Remarkable. There was a book I read years ago called Bragg's Apple Cider Vinegar. It's remarkable. All the superstars use it. All the supermodels use it for the hair. And they wash the hair and they always rinse it with apple cider vinegar, and it shines. And that's where you see all the models. That's how they do it. It's available. It's just information. Like water carries information, and we've got to carry this information. And look into it for yourself, begin to ingest this stuff for yourself, and begin to experience the change that you and I can make. Next thing I'd like to touch on is breakfast cereals, the cornflakes, the Rice Krispies, the Chocos, the Cheerios. And Cheerio is a good word for it, because they have destroyed our children. They have absolutely massacred the health and the mental agility of our children. Those grains, a lot of them are genetically modified. They are saturated in so much crap that our children, we are not designed to live on grains. We've restricted our children's fat intake. They take in no aminos. And we've got to educate ourselves and our children that we've got to start giving our children some poached eggs in the morning and some boiled eggs in the morning. We need to start giving them some nutrition in the morning, because without it, they're just going to amble through like they're on somebody else's escalator. They're not going to be capable of making decisions for themselves that are for the benefit. They're going to go along with what any inputted information is given to them, because they haven't got the mental acuity to process it and to deal with it. And all the friends are doing it, and they're all going off the end of a cliff. And we've got to intervene. We've got to get boiled eggs and poached eggs back on the menu. We've got to get fats and salts, iodine salts, into our children so the brains can flourish. We've got to get their cholesterol levels up, because getting them down is devastating. Your brain is like 3/4 made from cholesterol. And when they say, oh, you've got to get your cholesterol level down, you've got to reduce your salt intake, you've just been given a prescription for Alzheimer's disease. There's no other outcome can come from that combination. It is a killer blow. You must intake fat, you must get back on butter, you must start using lard and tallow, because these seed oils are killing everybody. They are not meant to be ingested. It was a hoax. They were produced by Rockefeller as a fuel oil for submarines, and the margarine and the low-fat it's got to go. This is how they've produced this escalator of illness and death and disease, through our incapacity to process just what is really pretty basic when you look underneath it. We are a combination of cells and factories that Almighty God put together to produce a product. It is to produce you at your optimum prime, and we've been sabotaged, and the NHS is going to sort that out. That we're going to stand in. I'm going to encourage everyone to get some backyard chickens. They're killing them all. They're going to come after you for it. They're going to give you a stick over it, and you're going to have to make a stand. You're going to have to say, no, enough killing. They killed all the cattle. Remember the cattle fires? Remember the BSE? Yeah, well, they were all your protein. They were essential to us. And we stood there through some stupid, retarded scientist who's been proven a liar. I can't even remember his flipping name. You know, he's just been through all the nonsense with the and everything. Now the same guy. And it was all lies. They just burned the farmers who reared those cattle. They never got over it. Lots of them committed suicide. And now they're paying the farmers not to grow food. Now that you've just watched the mass fires as they take the chickens out right from under your nose while we're concentrating on queerstoma. You know, we've got other things to concentrate on. You know, we've got life to take care of. We've got family to put first. The NHS, are you in? Are you going to come on board? Because we've got a lot of work to do. There's a lot of sick people out there. There's a lot of ill and dying out there. And we've got to step in. Someone's got to step in. I'll step in for your family, and you step in for mine. And together we'll form something that it's going to be your legacy. Your children, your grandchildren are going to look back at you and say, what did me dad do? What did me auntie so-and-so do? What did me mum do? What did me sister do? Well, you can do this. You can let information free. You can do it fearlessly. You can do it as an act of your will. Will we do it?
Huge spectrum of frequencies that are absolutely destructive to our cells and especially to the pineal gland. You know, they couldn't have made any better choices than 2.4 gigahertz. That the end point that when you have inhale aluminum, as we do from the geoengineering program, and have glyphosate in the food chain, that glyphosate and aluminum combine in the blood and in the gut and in the bloodstream to form 6 different chemical compounds where aluminum and glyphosate are hooked up together, and the end point of that compound is the pineal gland. Published, you know, it is not my idea, and what is needed for this compound to actually enter the brain is to open up the blood-brain barrier. And the current frequencies in the Wi-Fi world are exactly doing that. They open the blood-brain barrier, so toxins that used to stay in the bloodstream and in the body below the neck are now entering the brain very freely. That applies to all toxins. And so it's a new time in that way.
We've touched on a few different compounds and stuff that are relatively very, very simple. Mega solutions, you know, and a turnaround if we'll provide that missing ingredient, which is ourselves. I don't know whether the government have been watching the couple of videos we've done here. We've been talking quite a bit about nicotine, which is a remarkable biochemical compound that God has given to us. And I noticed that the attack continues, where now you're not allowed to smoke in a beer garden. I mean, you're getting the gist of this, aren't you, with the chicken fires and the proteins and the amino acids. You've seen that the bonfires all around the world and the multiple millions of dead birds. You've seen that. And now the pubs have gone. Because historically, the pub was the local parliament. It was the local decision-making place. It's where the men and the women got together and they spoke and they let their hair down. And you got to, you couldn't have that. Oh, that's got to go. We've got to close the pub. We've got to have a smoking ban. And they get 2 birds with 1 stone, because once they decimate the pubs, which the pub trade was just annihilated, and now you've got these big brewery chains, and most of the beer is chemical anyway. So you've got now you've got to go outside like the local leper and ring your bell, unclean, or I'm smoking, or I'm sorry I'm giving you cancer, I'm sorry I'm this toxic, poisonous cloud, and stood outside in the rain and the wet and everything having a cigarette, because you really crave for one, because there were compounds within there for your good and for your absolute detriment that were loaded in, because these government people, they want nicotine gone from your existence. They want every source of it gone, because you can have a look at the study that was found at 2021 at the beginning of the pandemic, that they discovered that smokers were not as susceptible, they weren't being hospitalised the same. They had a sort of get out of hospital free card, and a lot of study went into it. It was already known, but the doctors who were clueless really had a look at it and stuff, and they found that it was the nicotine, even though it was saturated with hundreds of chemicals called pyrazines that we touched on in the nicotine. Even though it was saturated with all those compounds, those toxic compounds that were totally addictive, it's not the nicotine that you're addicted to, it's these pyrazines that these technicians, that these evil biochemists have saturated an absolutely remarkable plant with to cause you harm. But still, the nicotine prevailed through all of that. So that will show you the power of nicotine, because your brain and your synapses and your receptor sites are, they have nicotinic receptors. Nicotinic receptors. Think of a baseball player or a cricket player with his hands outstretched behind the wicket, waiting to catch the ball. He's a receiver, he wants to receive that ball. Well, these receptors are there waiting to grab hold of the nicotine because it makes an electrical connection with synapses in your brain, and it turns systems on all over the place that are absolutely essential to you. And those synapses have been attacked. Those receivers have been having chemical turds thrown at them. And we've been decimated as a result of just that basic, simple information. You remember all the adverts, nicotine, the bad guy like the villain, getting the children, and then Superman comes and intervenes, and that's Big Pharma. The Superman, we'll get rid of nicotine for you. They believe that they are Supermen. They believe that they are above you, that they are intellectually superior to you, which they are, by the way, because they have access to information that you're deprived of, thankfully for a lot of it. But they're in charge, and they are demonising every product that we need to sustain our life and our health.
They actually took dental anesthetics, dried them out, and put them under a microscope to see if they could see nanotech was also in other forms of injections. And they dried it out over 30 days and found all this nanotech underneath the microscope. And all of a sudden, all of the nanotech that they see under the microscope that they're calling nanotech dissolves instantaneously with the nicotine administration.
And where we just spoke before on the Monsanto with the Roundup chemical fertilizer to kill the nettle. If you have a look at nettle, I mean, if you go into a health food shop, they sell nettle root powder. It is absolutely a power pack of nutrition and health and goodness, and all our great-great-granddads knew this. Oh, it kept people alive for centuries, the nettle. But now they want us to kill it. We've got to reconnect with what God's put all around us here. Some of these things we think are an absolute nuisance and need to be gotten rid of. You're in harmony with your own destruction, because these things are everywhere. If you could spin the camera, which we're not, there's an elderberry tree here full of elderberries, absolutely rammed with antioxidants and with all sorts of chemical compounds that are just there, and just go and pick them up. There's apple trees here. I can go and get pure apple juice, an apple a day. This is the NHS, and we need these proteins. We need these amino acids. We need these nicotinic receptors switched on for our improvement. And we also need to declutter and to rescue our fellow men and women and children who are loaded up with this toxic compound death. And we've got to get that cleared out. We've got to get it cleared up. We've got to get the lies exposed. We've got to get the truth to everybody, and we've got to get this information and these products into people's hands. Oh, that's going to require all of us, not just the shopkeepers and the local people who care in the area. What about you people who are printers? You can step up and make yourself and your company available to produce pamphlets, and to produce posters, and to produce leaflets. And what about badges that would give this information, just little highlighted? What about your internet sites? What about your finances? What about your technical skills? We need biochemists who will come forward and say, I will come under that banner. I believe that that's right for me. And make your skills available, because we need to produce compounds, the blood clots and the myocarditis and the different things that are killing everybody. There are compounds available which are natural with the aminos, and one of them is called L-citrulline, and the other one is L-tyrosine, and the third compound is beet powder. And this combination is absolutely the most fabulous combination for anybody that's got any cardiovascular problems. It opens up the endothelium, your blood vessels. It produces a substance that you might have heard of that's been demonised as well and been trying to make illegal, and it's called nitric oxide. It will produce nitric oxide in your blood supply. It will go through and clear out the debris and the plaque, and it will attack the spike protein. It will clear out your blood. It will give you energy. If you've been having trouble The sperm counts are in the ground, obviously, because this is by design, that we're not reproducing. The sperm counts are like absolutely decimated. One of the reasons is nitric oxide, that you need the blood supply. You've got to have your libido supercharged. Our endocrine systems have been attacked and destroyed through this chemical attack, and our estrogen levels have been lifted sky high, which is your breast cancers and your endocrine disruptors and your hormone disruptors and your sexuality being disrupted. Every confusion you can imagine, you can produce through messing with hormones, through lifting estrogen and dropping testosterone. You can feminize men and you can masculize women, and it's just a balance of the two, but everything is under attack, and we've got to clean that system out. We'll do it with information. So that's another compound you must look at, which is nitric oxide. It is dynamic, it will revolutionise your life, and coupled with the other solutions, we'll be able to get somewhere. And we'll be able to make headway if we all throw our talents and our abilities. We look at what we've got in our hand, we'll be able to make something happen for our town. These different procedures and compounds, are going to produce those cells to perform. And the thing that we've been using, I've been using for many, many years, which is the daddy of them all, which is ozone. It is oxygen, it is triatomic oxygen. I'm not going to go into the details of it, because you can make yourself, aware of its power and of its potential to transform not only your life but those around you. There are different mechanisms, where you can introduce triatomic oxygen into your system, and one of them we touched on just before with the deionized water. I mean, you couple triatomic oxygen and you've got those pockets available in the water to load that triatomic oxygen up. You can just be simply drinking ozonated water, deionized water, and that is going to be dramatic in what it does at a biochemical level. There is not a drug or a compound or anything that it's just in a different arena and realm and ballpark. This will produce effects. It will produce it will oxygenize your whole system. It is rocket fuel for the cells. It will fire up the engines. It will produce ATP. And now that you're ingesting your boiled eggs and your poached eggs and your fats and your butter and your raw milk into your system, you're giving it the enzymes, you're giving it the amino acids, you're giving it the protein, you're giving it the oxygen. Boy, you're going to see a change in every aspect of your life. You're going to see new buildings begin to be erected in your mind that are positive. That you're going to see ailments that you thought were irreversible are just going to disappear. You're going to be able to put the doctor behind you, and you are going to be the doctor for your family. You are going to be the physician for your family. You are going to have the knowledge, and it's simple. I mean, you look back over the centuries, in the 16th century and all of that, they were burning the likes of us. They were running around, the people who healed in the village with the herbs and the knowledge. They were an absolute frightening thing. And if you want to summarise up where we're at spiritually and focus in on this, there was a fantastic film, and it was one of my favourite actors from Yes Minister, and what he was, it was called The Madness of King George, and it was a powerful film because the king, for whatever ill, and ill is a good word, and this guy had lost the plot, but he represented you, he represented the people, he represented the covenant, and he represented the law, and he represented the nation, and I don't go for all of that stuff, but this is what he represented and everything. There's a scene where obviously he got mentally deranged, and they were all politicking behind his back. And that's what's going on now, is that the people are under attack, our representatives are under attack, people who stand up are under attack. And what they done is they brought in a physician from out of nowhere, and the film is remarkable, and it's the medical establishment again with the mind benders, and there's a site in there where they go eye to eye, and it says something, the king says, "I am not your patient." It's something like that, he says, do you know you're talking to your king, sir? Something like that. He says, "No, sir, I am talking to my patients." And it was a standoff between the medical people and the mind benders and the representatives of the realm. And I want you to think on that when you think of the World Health Organization, when you think of Davos, when you think of all these committees, and you think of the UN. They are that representative. They have gone eye to eye with the people, and this is a standoff. They believe that you are their patient, that you are their subject, that you are going to be restrained, because they put them in a straitjacket and they dragged them off and they tortured them through the medical procedures. Go and watch the movie if you've never watched it, because that's where we are now. What they done to that king, and that's what they're doing to us. They have got us in straitjackets, mentally, socially, physically, spiritually, and with our health. And they are torturing the living daylights out of us. But he got his sanity back in the end. It's a great movie. He's one of my favourite actors from Yes Minister, Sir Humphrey Appleby. And that's where we're at. We are at a standoff. We are looking eye to eye with power. The medical industry, the pharmaceutical industry, the governmental industry, the health industry. And it's just down to simple old you and me. And we've got to say, oh no, you don't. It's the NHS. And we're going to move forward. And please make yourself known. Make yourself available. Step into the arena. And let's do something tremendous up and down this country. It's going to be the Birkenhead drill. Women and children first. And it's the NHS. Paradigm that they've slotted us into, and what we think of as food and health in the supermarkets. They've got something else brand new. You remember Hugh L. Ferrari, whatever he is, saying that we're going to eat the bugs and Schwab and all of that. What they've got, I want you to have a look at something in a minute. They've got lab-grown meat. They've got 3D printers. These robots that are in charge of the government and the health. They've actually got the little robot machine friends to print lab-grown meat. Can you imagine such a thing? That they're going to 3D print your new chicken. They're going to 3D print your burgers. That's how far down the hole we've gone. I mean, they're going to present this as a great thing, that it's going to solve all sorts of problems. It's going to kill everybody. It's going to kill everybody. Lab-grown meat. I mean, for goodness sake, now we know what we know with the different compounds we need. That's the kiss of death. And they've got people now on the TV saying what a fantastic breakthrough it's going to be. Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic breakthrough for them. Because the health service that they've been promoting and looking for is called the National Health Service. It's the health service to keep the nation healthy. Yeah, and when you and I get a little bit uppity, we're like a little viral infection to the nation as far as they're concerned. And they're gonna take remedies. They're gonna try and get rid of the infection. They're gonna try and get rid of the people who are making a noise, who are upsetting the nation. Because the health of the nation's at stake, and you're making it. Remember the Prince Andrew interview? Yeah, how long was it? In the Crown, the COVID, the Crown, the Corona. How long was it till that came down on us all? The national health they've got to look after. Just work where they're coming from. Oh, they want to give us lab-grown meat. It's going to just devastate and kill everybody. I'd like you to just think on one more compound that's jumped into my mind that is critical, and it's called chlorella. Okay, we're not going to go labour the point now, but it is absolutely dynamite. It is going to do so much good in your life. It's going to bump your IQ up. It's got 30 times more protein than beef. It's got all the B minerals contained within it. It's got the DHA and stuff for your brain. It is absolute superfood. And when you look into chlorella, and you can couple that with another one cell, that these are algae, blue-green algae, and you couple that with spirulina and apple juice, and you mix it up, and we're going to get people who can make this taste really lovely for the children, because you can live on that with nothing else if you needed to. It is absolutely remarkable. You will be super fit, super healthy, and it's the closest thing at a biochemical level on planet Earth to mother's milk, breast milk, and that's available. And we're going to make that into a beautiful, nutritious drink, and we're going to get the kids enthused on it. And boy, you know, we're going to see a change in our children when they're drinking chlorella and spirulina and pure apple juice, and not this toxic bomb that nearly killed my son with Diet Coke and Diet Pepsi. I spoke on it on the other video. I speak about it all the time because it was a defining moment. And you know, the chemical that nearly killed my son was called aspartame.
Aspartame is a common artificial sweetener found in over 6,000 products worldwide, especially in diet soda products. It is the most consumed artificial sweetener in the United States. With the power of slick marketing, the public has been led to believe that aspartame is safer and healthier than regular sugar. But nothing could be further from the truth. Aspartame accounts for 75% of adverse reactions to food additives reported to the FDA. The most common reaction is a headache or migraine, but many reactions are very serious, including seizures and death. Aspartame has also been linked to depression and increased weight, yet these products continue to be marketed as healthy options that support calorie restriction. Aspartame is composed of 40% aspartic acid, 50% phenylalanine, and 10% methanol or wood alcohol. The amino acids aspartic acid and phenylalanine benefits your body's function, but you ingest these amino acids excessively in aspartame. Aspartame is an excitotoxin that excites or stimulates your brain cells to death. On the other hand, too much phenylalanine can change your brain's physiology and deplete you of serotonin, a neurotransmitter that helps regulate mood. Naturally occurring methanol found in certain fruits and vegetables is firmly bonded to pectin, which allows the methanol to be safely passed through your digestive tract. The phenylalanine methyl bond, called a methyl ester, is very weak and allows the methyl group on the phenylalanine to easily break off and form methanol. Methanol from aspartame is extremely dangerous to humans. It is carried to susceptible tissues in your body where alcohol dehydrogenase, ADH, converts it to formaldehyde, the fluid used for embalming. Your body lacks key enzymes that eliminate formaldehyde that accumulate in your cells and wreak havoc on sensitive proteins and DNA. It is linked to breast and prostate cancer, as well as oxidative damage in your brain. Animals have a protective mechanism that allows methanol to be broken down into harmless formic acid, but there's a major biochemical problem with methanol in humans because of the difference in how it's metabolized compared to all other animals. This is why toxicology testing on animals is a flawed model. It doesn't fully apply to humans. But why is aspartame still on the market? Aspartame was discovered by accident in 1965 when James Schlatter, a chemist of G.D. Searle Company, was testing an anti-ulcer drug. G.D. Searle fervently pushed for the approval of aspartame on the market, to no avail. Scientific evidence, including the Bressler report created in 1977, linked aspartame to a number of side effects, including a huge risk of brain tumors. It also revealed fraud and manipulation of data done on aspartame studies. One day after the inauguration of Ronald Reagan in 1981, Searle reapplied to the FDA for approval to use aspartame as a food sweetener. Its CEO, Donald Rumsfeld, had Dr. Arthur Hull Hayes Jr. appointed as the new FDA commissioner. Hayes appointed a 5-person scientific commission to review the current decision on aspartame. When it became clear that the panel would uphold the ban, Hayes installed a 6th member who voted in favor of aspartame. He broke the tie in aspartame's favor, which led to the inevitable approval of the sweetener in 1983. In 1985, Monsanto purchased G.D. Searle and made Searle Pharmaceuticals and the NutraSweet company separate subsidiaries. Today, there are over 900 published studies revealing the detrimental effects of aspartame. Migraines are the most reported aspartame reaction. Chronic exposure to this sweetener can bring about or worsen serious conditions such as asthma, lymphomas and leukemia, brain tumors and brain cancer, irritable bowel syndrome, Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, and epilepsy. Aspartame's connection to cancer cannot be ignored. Excitotoxins like aspartame have been found to dramatically promote cancer growth. A researcher found that when cancer cells were exposed to aspartame, they became more mobile, and their metastasis or spread became more enhanced. The longest ever human aspartame study, spanning 22 years and conducted by the Brigham and Women's Hospital from Harvard University, found a clear association between aspartame consumption and increased risk of blood cancers. The Harvard study found that men who consumed more than 1 diet soda per day had a heightened risk of developing multiple myeloma and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Leukemia was associated with diet soda intake in both sexes. This study strongly confirms the dangers of aspartame for humans, as it is the first large-scale and long-term observational human study ever conducted on this sweetener. But after yielding to severe pressure from the industry, the researchers downplayed their findings, minimizing the impact of the study. Despite these red flags, food manufacturers still continue to use aspartame for their products. In fact, the International Dairy Foods Association and the National Milk Producers Federation have petitioned the FDA to amend the standard of identity for milk to allow aspartame to be added to it without being listed on the label. Contrary to promises of diet soda and diet products containing it, aspartame can make you gain weight by stimulating your appetite, increasing your cravings for carbohydrates, and promoting fat storage. Aspartame toxicity is not well known by doctors, despite its frequency. Most of its symptoms mimic other health conditions, so if you're having a reaction to sweeteners, you may be unaware of it or are blaming it on another cause.
I knew about it. I didn't know how devastating it was. But it's in all the sodas, it's in all the products, and it was sold as a sweetener, an artificial sweetener, like the artificial meat and the artificial seeds that they grow this stuff off, and the trail of corruption, so they could get that poison ingested into you. You remember Donald Rumsfeld from 9/11, and the day before the Twin Towers were hit, he was announcing that the Pentagon couldn't account for $3 trillion. That same guy, yeah, well, when he got into the government, before he was in the government, he was one of the executives of Monsanto, and they happened to discover way back, I think in the 80s, that this GMO stuff that they were pioneering, him and his mates, the Gates of Hell, were pioneering. They found that the genetically modified organisms, well, their fecal matter, when they had a crap, in other words, what came out of it was actually super sweet, actually 30 times sweeter than sugar. Absolutely toxic poison, by the way. And they tried to get it put on so the Food and Drug Administration in America would authorise it so they could make billions of it, even though it was absolutely, you've got to look into aspartame. It is devastating. And but Donald Rumsfeld got put into the government. He got a government job under Ronald Reagan, and within a couple of weeks it was certified to be used as a sweetener. It was put in all the products. You remember all the adverts, diet this, diet that, diet die, all right, is the key word. And it was Donald Rumsfeld who did it. And look at aspartame. I've had personal first-hand experience with it. I'd love you to avoid it. And we've got to get these children on beneficial drinks that are nutritious, that are going to uplift them and make them big and strong and healthy and smart and IQ'd up to the limits that they can achieve. And do that with kombucha. We can do it with a raft of different products. Let's get them in the corner shops and get the milkmen delivering raw milk and yogurts, kombucha, raw apple cider vinegar, stuff that's going to be absolutely remarkable. Free range eggs, all of that for the kids. And that's how we get back to the future. Remember the Tony Hancock videos? I've sold me soul, the eggs, all of that good stuff. Remember the end of the other video? The chicks going round and the milkmen and the milk lad chasing her down the road. Yeah, that's the sort of thing nitric oxide will provide for you. They'll have a trouble getting our numbers down if we get our eggs and our proteins and all that down us, and we'll switch the whole lot back on and give them the shock of their life.
Radio frequency radiation exposure has been shown to affect the permeability of the blood-brain barrier, as well as altering the expression of microRNA within the brain, which researchers state could lead to adverse effects such as neurodegenerative disease. Whoa. How come we don't know that?
We've covered a bit of ground here, I hope. And, I feel good about it. And I hope you're feeling encouraged about it. And where we've been at as a small group up here is that there are friends and people now who are determined they're going to start these ozone clinics. Just right out the gate, we've got a group that are coming together who are going to give instructions on how to administer ozone therapy, oxygen therapy. There are a myriad of ways. And but once you get excited about this, once you get informed about this and how simple this is, you don't need any other interventions. This has got to spread like wildfire. And there's a saying, isn't it, that lies, they get halfway around the world before the truth gets its laces tied up. And that's where we are now. We've got catch up to do. We've now got, like, just within this small conversation that we've had, some transformation information for our towns and our homes, our children, everything. We've got to make it happen. We want to be able to approach some of these ozone machine manufacturers and the people who supply the simple kit that's needed. We need to get this in bulk, so we can take this out into the communities and into the streets. There are products that we need to purchase in bulk. Some of them have named there, iodine. There are other products that we need. And if we come together and we want to make this happen, then nothing on this earth can stop us, because it's God's business to heal the sick. He says to me as a Christian, he says go out, heal the sick, cast out devils and preach the gospel, which is the good news. And I hope the NHS is going to be what you've been waiting to hear, that it's going to be good news. And the minute that you see one transformation in somebody's life and the knock-on effects that I've had the privilege to experience, you're going to be addicted. You're going to be running around looking for the sick, not hoping you become one. God bless. Take courage, do your research, do your information, and bring your assets and bring everything you've got forward, because this is the real war. It's the war for our future.